President. Please be seated. The court is now back in session. I hand over the floor to the defense team to put the question to the witness. Maybe the defense team for Nguyen Chia has not concluded their lines of questioning, so you may proceed if you have any further questions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we do. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. I have some more questions that I would like to put to you this afternoon. Firstly, let me go back to a topic that we discussed before the lunch break. That was the collapse of a worker you saw who was resuscitated and then, according to you, died. Do you know if there's anybody who's still alive today who was also there together with you watching this event and who could confirm what you're saying?
We separated in 1979, and I do not know who was still alive, and I have never returned to the place. I came to the place where I am living now, and since then I did not know who was still alive and who dead.
And you said that such incidents happened more than 10 times. In the other incidents that you said you saw, did you know who those workers were? Did you know any of them?
I did not know the victims. I only saw that that person was killed, but I did not know who he was.
Maybe something went wrong in translation. I meant the other times that you said you saw people collapse because of possible overwork or exhaustion. Those incidents you said you saw, do you know who were the workers who collapsed of exhaustion?
Could you please repeat the question?
Before the lunch break, you discussed a situation when a worker collapsed and was resuscitated. You also said that this happened more than 10 times. The other 10 or more times you saw this, do you know who the workers were that were involved in such incidents? Who were they that also collapsed?
I did not know the name, neither did I know the face. I only saw the person collapse. I only knew that they were the co-workers over there, but I dare not go closer to see the person. I only knew that he was a member of the unit, and some others whom we asked, the other co-workers who were working over there, I asked what happened to the guy. Then he said that that person passed away.
Did you ever speak to people who were involved in trying to save or to rescue these people? Did you ever speak to anybody who could say something about what you saw?
We at that time we asked each other. We actually did not go and talk to the person who fainted, but we asked other co-workers what happened to that person, and then they told me that he had passed away. So we were actually at that time minding our own work, so we did not dare to go closer and ask.
Let me now move on to the killings that you said you witnessed. If I understand correctly, you said you saw it twice. One incident you described, it was one man who was killed. Do you know who this man was?
I saw the killing, but I did not know who he was and whether or not he was the prisoner and where he was brought from. But he was killed in front of other. After they killed that person, they warned to other workers that everyone had to continue to work hard, otherwise our fate would eventually be like the person who was just killed.
Where exactly were you when you saw this particular incident of one man being killed? Where were you, and where did the killing take place?
In my estimation, it was about 200 meters away. It was about 100 to 200 meters away from the corner of the dam.
And was there anyone standing next to you, or were there many people standing next to you who saw the same thing as what you saw?
Yes, all the workers who were working over there witnessed the killing. Those who were nearby, working nearby, they witnessed the killing.
So would it be fair to say that hundreds of people saw what you saw?
Again, please.
So is it correct when I say that hundreds of people, or maybe even thousands of people, saw what you saw? They saw the same thing?
Yes, many people. But I do not know whether or not those people are still alive today. so I cannot go and ask them, but I did witness the killing at that scene.
Now let me go to the second time, the second incident, or the second killing rather, that you said you witnessed. Can you describe for me what you saw during this second killing? What did you see?
For the first and the second killing was similar in the manners they kill the person. They would beat that person to death, and then they warn other workers that everyone had to continue working hard. If they could not complete the work, they would eventually be killed. So it was in the same pattern when they did it.
So it was, again, one man, one worker being killed. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. They killed only one at a time, not several people. They killed only one, and then they warned us of the consequences if we did not work.
And this second incident, the second killing that you said that you witnessed, did you know that particular worker? Did you know who he was?
No, I did not know him. I only saw that he was being frog marched to the place, and they were beaten to death. And then they warned to other workers that all of you had to work hard, otherwise you would be executed.
And this second killing that you said you saw, was this also witnessed by many other workers in the same manner as the other event that you described?
Well, the second time was the same as the first one, and all the workers actually witnessed the killing in the second time.
Let me read to you, Mr. Witness, an excerpt from your WRI, your statement, E3/7755. Mr. President, that is 00293004 in English, Khmer 00279115 in French.
The President. Counsel Coupe, please read the ERN number again for a proper record.
Khmer ERN 002-79115. It's document E3/7755. French 00338221. And English 00293004. Mr. Witness, this is your statement to the investigators of the court. And you said, at that time, I saw them beat the people. They also killed the people at the site tied the people's hands at the back and took them away. I personally saw them killing hundreds of people and buried them at the bottom of the dam. I saw them tie the people's feet up in the air with a rope and dropped and lifted them a few times. Most people at the site saw this punishment too. They did not kill them, but they wanted to threaten them. They would be killed if they did not learn a lesson. Now, let me focus on one particular aspect of your statement, of your WRI. You said that you saw the killing of hundreds of people. And today you gave testimony that you saw two separate killings of two separate individuals. Is that correct?
The President, Mr. Witness, please hold on. The National Lead Co-Lawyer for the Civil Parties, you may proceed. Counsel Panyong. Mr. President, I'd like to clarify on this. In Khmer, it reads, I saw they killed people, hundreds of people were killed and they were buried on the bed of the dam. That's what it was read in Khmer. The President, how does that differ from the statement read by the Counsel just now? Just now through the translation, I heard it reads, I saw people, hundreds of people were killed at the scene, but in this written record of interview, it reads that I saw that person killed at the by my own eyes over there. The President, I do not see any variation, counsels, between the two statements. So witness is now instructed to respond to the last question put by the defense counsel. Response. I say I saw it by my own eye because that's what I saw and I responded it. I saw it not at the work site, construction work site, but when I was living with my parents, I saw many people were killed in other places, near Tangal and other places. So I did not say that I saw hundreds of people were killed at the Trapang Tmo work site, but elsewhere.
But Mr. Witness, I'm reading from your statement. You're discussing what you saw while working at the dam. You describe the burying of the hundreds of people at the bottom of the dam. So my question is, when you describe personally seeing killing hundreds of people, are you now saying they were killed somewhere else and not at the dam, or weren't they killed at all? What is exactly your testimony?
I cannot answer your question. I do not know how to answer it further because I said precisely that I saw only two people who were killed at the construction work site. But I saw hundreds of other people killed in other places, in the plantations and other places, and some were screaming for help. That's what I saw.
Okay, to be very clear, you never saw hundreds of people being killed and buried at the bottom of the Trapang Tmo Dam. Is that correct?
No, not these hundreds of people who were buried at the bottom of the dam. I did not say that. I only saw two people killed at the Trapang Thmo work site, and then they were buried uh, on the bottom of the dam.
Okay. Now you also spoke earlier about militia men who were going around at the dam site beating workers, poking the workers with swords, arresting workers. These people that you described, were they the same people who were involved in those two killings that you said you saw?
The militia who pointed the sword at the workers, they were different from the one who killed the workers. And they came in group of three people, one woman and two young men. And the woman was armed with a rifle, and then the younger men, they were carrying stick, and then they frog marched the person to the construction work site, and then that person was beaten to death, and his body was buried in the bottom of the dam.
If they were not members of that militia that you described, where were they from? Were they military from or soldiers or cadres from the district maybe, or from the commune, or from the zone? Did you know who they were?
No, I did not know. I did not know whether or not they were from the village or from the commune or district. I only witnessed the killing, and they did the killing.
These two incidents that you said you saw, the two killings, did they happen in the time when you heard your group chief speak about orders from Taval? In other words, was Taval in charge when you said you saw these killings?
No, they did not mention anything like that, but they only warned the workers that they had to be extra cautious on the work that they were assigned to, otherwise their fate would be like the person who was just killed. But they did not mention that they received the order from Taval, or they were from they followed Taval instructions or anybody's instruction. They came, they brought that person, and then they killed, and then they left.
My question was probably not clear enough, but those two killings, did these happen when Taval was still the overall boss of Trapang Thma Dam worksite? Was it at the same time he was boss?
When I was working over there, it was under the overall supervision of Taval, but I never met with Taval, and Taval did not do the killing. I only saw these militiamen who killed. For the daily militiamen who patrol the work site, they did not do the killings, but the militiamen who brought the person to kill at the work site were different militiamen from other places that I do not know.
One last question on these two killings. I heard you also say earlier that many people carried the earth to bury the bodies. What were you referring to when you said these words, many people carried the earth to bury the bodies?
Because at that time we had to carry the dirt, and then we had to dump it there. So it was our turn to do the job. So we had to carry the earth and then just dump it to build a dam, and that was it. And it was the instruction we had to follow.
So are you saying that the carrying of the earth had nothing to do with the burying of the bodies?
Now it was the turn that everyone had to carry the earth and then to build the dam. So we had to continue to do that, and we actually dumped the earth on the corpse over there. And everybody did that because it was our duty to carry the earth and build the dam.
Let me move to another subject now. That is your unit and your group. I read in your WRI that Roon was your group leader, Sarun was your company chairman, and Roon was your battalion commander. Is that correct?
Rune at the time. Rune or one was the unit chief. I cannot recall which one is exactly.
Now, were Roon, Sarun, and Roon involved in giving instructions to your unit? Instructions about quota, instructions about where to start to work, instructions as to how long you were working? Were those the responsible superiors for you?
The work plan I received was from either Rune or One, because he was my direct superior. They were the one who measured the land for us to dig, and I did not know from whom they received the work plan or instruction. So allow me to say I received the work plan from this small cell unit chief.
Now, if someone in your unit did not work hard enough a particular day, who was it that would talk to this worker? Was it Roon, Sarun, or Run?
Rune was my small cell chief, who was the one who reused our food ration, for instance. And if a ladder of gruel was used from my ration, then that ladder of gruel will be distributed to the other two members within the group.
Now, these three people were in charge of your smaller unit and the bigger unit that you were in. Can you explain to me why it was that they needed the help of militia members to force the workers to work harder? Why did they need the help of the militia members who were walking there?
President, Mr. Witness, please wait. And Council Pich Ong, you have the floor. Pich Ong, Mr. President, I think the question seems to draw the witness conclusion on the mind of the chief of the small unit, which is improper.
I'm not asking for a conclusion. I'm asking if he knows a reason why apparently Rune, Sarun and Run needed the assistance of militia with swords poking the workers. Maybe he is privy to any knowledge, because it's I think unusual what he's describing. That's why I would like to know.
President, the objection is overruled, and Mr. Witness, please respond to the question. Witness, the small unit chief and the group chief gave orders to those militiamen to force us to work harder, because they apparently received the orders from the upper echelon or from upper Angka, and then they impose those instructions upon us.
Did you ever see Run, Sarun or Run directly give an order to any of those militia members?
No, I did not.
You also said that in your WRI that we were not allowed to rest during working hours. Is that correct? Is that what happened? You were not allowed to rest during working hours?
Please repeat your question. I don't fully get it.
In your statement to the investigators, you said that you were not allowed to rest during working hours. Is that correct? And if yes, who instructed? Who gave that instruction?
It was the group chief who instructed us not to rest.
And if that happened anyway, who was then instructing the particular worker to stand up and go work again?
Again, it was the group chief.
Did it also happen that it was one of those militia members who said to one of the workers to stand up and go working again?
No, it was not the militiaman, it was the group chief and the small unit chief who didn't allow us to rest, because the militiamen only came to poke the workers to work harder, and they were not with us all the time. But the group chief and the small unit chief were present there to monitor how we worked. They always push us to work harder.
And my last questions now, Mr. Witness. In your WRI, the very first question, you said the following. 5 months after the liberation in 1975, my family and I were evacuated to Svay. At that time, they had us study because we were children. Later on, we were not allowed to study after we had grown up. Do you remember saying this to the investigators?
Yes, that is my statement. However, there was no proper school. We studied in the village under a tree, and we studied for a day, and we stopped for 4 or 5 days before we started again. And sometimes we only studied for an hour or so per that study session, and for the rest of the time we were assigned to gather concentrated trees to make fertilizer. There was no textbook or book, and what we learned was to cut the tree leaves or to break the termite mound.
Is it correct if I say, Mr. Witness, that in 1975 you were 11 years old?
I forget. I cannot recall how old I was at the time, whether I was 12 years old or 14 years old.
Do you remember going to school when you were 4 years old, or 5 years old, or maybe 6 years old? Did you go to school before 1975?
No, I did not. Before 1975, I was living in the forest with my parents, and it was the war times. Usually my parents would have us stayed in the trench to avoid the aerial bombardment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Witness. Wow.
President, thank you. The floor is now given to the defense team for Kiel's upon to put the questions to this witness, and you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. Mr. Sotpan, I am Anta Guissé, and I am the International Co-Counsel of Kyosampan. And I have a few questions to put to you for clarification. I don't have many questions, but my colleague will have some extra questions. So I'd like to get back to the period during which you worked at the Trapeang Tma Dam. You said that you do not exactly remember how old you were when you started, and in fact you said you did not know exactly when you were born, but you did tell the president that you were born in 1964 because, and you remember that date because that is what your parents told you. So did I understand your testimony properly? Were you indeed born in 1964?
Yes, I recall it clearly that I was born in 1964 because after the liberation we had to register our self, and my father told me to recite that I was born in 1964, and that's how I remember it. I refer to the time that the country was liberated by the Vietnamese troops. And from that day onward, I remember that I was born in 1964. So later on, every time I had to provide my year of birth, I used the year of 1964. But I do not know my real age, or actually how I can deduct the current year against the year that I was born, that is the year of 1964, as my father told me.
Thank you for this clarification, witness, and please do not be concerned. Based on that indication, we'll be able to calculate ourselves. So on the basis of the element that you just provided to us, I conclude that in 1975 you were 11 years old, and especially I believe you said, but please correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that you started working in the unit of teenagers from the ages of 14 to 18, and you said that you started working at the age of 14. You said that you joined the children's unit at the age of 14. Did I understand your testimony properly?
As I said, my parents told me that I was 14 years old, so I remember it that I was 14 years old at the time. Even if my real age was 11 or 12 years old, but when I was asked how old I was, I recalled what my father told me, and I told people that I was 14 years old.
Do you remember how much time after having joined the children's unit, how much time after that did you start working at the Trapeang Tma Dam? Was it right afterwards, or did some time go by? Do you remember?
I do not recall how many months after, but I spent I spent several months cutting the contrincate tree leaves. Then the Angka representative came to ask my mother how old I was, and she told them, I don't know, maybe she told them that I was 12 or 13 years old. Then that the Angka listed down on a piece of paper about my age, and later on I was gathered to go.
I don't understand very well. You said that you were 14 years old back then, and it is your parents who told you that you were 14 years old, And now I understand from your answer that maybe your mother said that you were of another age. So were you told to say that you were 14 years old when you joined the children's unit? Were you told to say that that was your age?
They did not ask about my age at my unit. They asked my parents, actually my mother, how old I was. And my mother told Onka that I was 12 years old or maybe 14 years old. I only heard about it and I recall that age. And I cannot recall it exactly whether I was 12 or 14 years old. And that's the only few words that I can recall at the time.
That's not a problem. So I will continue with Trapeang Tma. When you were answering the questions of Judge Fence, you said that even if you didn't remember exactly how long you remained at the dam, you said, however, that you had worked there during the dry season because during the rain season you were not asked to dig canals. So my first question is, can you tell the chamber how much time does the dry season last? From which month to which month, if you know? As of when during the year can we start speaking about the dry season?
I do not know when the dry season started. From my recollection, the dry season started when it's no longer raining. And that was the time that I was reassigned. And actually, when it stopped raining, our children unit was asked to work on the rice field. That was the transplantation period of the year.
You said when you answered the deputy co-prosecutor regarding the place where you worked at the Trapeang Tma Dam, you said that you were on the east side, at the eastern corner facing west. So my question is, do you remember what was the name of the closest village to where you were working, so that I can have a better understanding of the location where you were working? Do you remember the name of the village that was the closest to where you were working at the dam?
During the time that I was working there, there was a village called Trapeang Tmo. It was in Phnom Srok district. And there was another village called Snool, if my recollection is correct. So it is either one of these, Trapeang Tmo or Snool, which was the closest village to where the dam was being built.
Thank you for this clarification. You said that you were being watched when you were working at Trapeang Tma. You said to my colleague that those who would watch over you, or the person who did that, was most often your unit chief. And you also spoke about militiamen. More specifically, you said today when you were answering questions that there was another unit that was working next to you, and that sometimes in order to warn each other that the militiamen were coming, you would throw stones at each other. So my question is the following. must I understand that the militiamen were not permanently there, and that is why you could warn each other that the militiamen were arriving?
Yes, that is correct.
So does this mean that they didn't come every day?
They came every day, but they did not walk through our area every hour. Usually they would walk passing our area and maybe heading to the west side, and maybe they reappeared in another half an hour.
And I understood from your testimony that that a woman was the chief of these militiamen, and she had a small weapon. And you spoke about 2 to 3 other militiamen. So was it always the same militiamen who would watch over you at the work site? Was it always the same soldiers or the same militiamen, if you remember?
No, they were not the same. They were on rotation basis. Sometimes I saw different militiamen. As for the young militiamen, they were constantly there. However, for the woman kept rotated. However, they carried the same weapon. I do not recognize the make of the model, and I don't see its use at present time.
So when you say that there was a rotation, was it a rotation of the group chief? And you said that the other militiamen were always the same. Is that what I must understand?
Yes, the militiamen who carried swords were the same, but for the woman was changed rather constantly. Sometimes I saw her for 2 days, then disappeared, and sometimes I only saw her for 1 day, then a new face came.
And you said that there were 3 young militiamen. So were they always 3 of them? Always the same 3?
They came in a group of 3 persons. However, the woman was replaced by another woman on a rotation basis, but the militiamen remained the same. Every 2 or 3 days, another woman would replace the one that I saw. But the young militiamen remained on site despite the changes of the woman.
You said that there were very many of you in your unit. So did you all come from the same village or from the same commune? Do you know that?
The children unit came from the same village and a commune. However, allow me to stress that they did not come from their native villages. Those children might have come from other villages, but it happens that they were in the same village or commune, and then they were put into this children unit. For that reason, I did not know many of them, since some of the children were belongs to the new people group.
Est-ce que
the militiamen you saw on a daily basis, do you know if they came from that same village?
They were from the same children unit, and they were promoted to be part of the militia group.
vous avez
You said that you do not know if there were hospitals in the vicinity of the Trapiang Tma Dam. So did I understand your testimony properly?
Yes, I said that there was no hospital there because I myself never saw one, and patients were treated on site. And when we asked for medicines, actually we asked from the group chief, and then the group chief would give us the medicine, and despite the all kinds of illnesses, we received the same pellets. So usually we asked for medicine from the group chief. And for example, I have an upset stomach, I would ask for pellets, and the same pellet was given to me as that given to other workers who were sick from other diseases.
Je vous pose cette question.
Mr. Witness, I am putting this question to you because we have heard many witnesses who also worked on the Trapiang Tma Dam work site testify here, and some of them talked about hospitals. And to refresh your memory, I'm referring to the transcript of the hearing at the hearing of the 17th of August 2015, shortly before 14 hours 23. That witness explained that each unit had a healthcare worker, and if anyone was seriously ill, that person would be sent to the Trapiang Tma Pagoda Hospital. My question to you is whether you heard of the hospital of the Trapiang Tma Pagoda.
But
No, I never heard from anybody about the hospital. If we were sick, then our unit chief would give us the medicine. If, for example, I was sick, I had stomach ache or so, I would ask my unit chief, and then they would give me something, a few pills to take, and then I would go to rest. Generally, after I took the pill, I rested for about 5 minutes or so, and then I resumed work again.
Monsieur le témoin, mon temps est compté.
Mr. Witness, I'm running out of time, and I'm trying to put very specific questions to you. I have heard your testimony. You have already given the same answer before. May I request you to focus on my questions and give me the answers I am expecting of you so that we may make progress. Another witness, Gilen So, at the 20th of August 2015 hearing, referred to a hospital. That was shortly before 11 hours 17 minutes. And he stated that he was sent to Paucha Hospital, P-A-U-C-H-E-R, Paucha Hospital. Have you ever heard of that hospital?
But
No, it's the same answer. I never heard anybody mentioned about hospital. I never heard of it at all. Whenever I was sick, I only go to see my unit chief. I never go to the hospital or to the doctor asking for the medicine. I never saw a hospital. I never saw any doctor. Whenever I was sick, I only approached my unit chief. My unit chief might have known the doctors, but for me, I never knew any doctor at all.
J'en reviens à ce que vous avez indiqué tout à l'heure. Vous avez donné plus de précisions sur l'endroit où vous étiez stationné pendant que vous travailliez.
I'll go back to what you said a while ago. You gave more details as to where you were when you worked at the Trapiantuma Dam work site. Are you still standing by your statement that you are aware of what was done there based on the instructions that were given to you, and as to what happened elsewhere, you did not know?
Yes.
Je vous remercie de ces précisions, monsieur.
Thank you for this clarification, Mr. Witness. I will not bother you any further, and I'll now give the floor to my colleague, Kong Samon.
The President, thank you. Now, Council Kung Sen, you have the floor. Kung Samon. Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, Your Honors. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. I have only very few questions in your clarification earlier. You mentioned that in your unit you would have other unit, battalion or platoon or companies, chief and others. You said that you did not know the name of the platoon chief or the company chief. I would like to ask you about this issue. When they divided up the groups into smaller units, were the unit chief children as well, or they were adult? Response. For the unit chief, they were also juveniles, but they were rather older than others, than the rest of the unit, and that person was the eldest in the team, and then they have a strong build and height. That person would be assigned as the unit chief. Questions. Do you refer to the height of the person? When somebody was the tallest one, then that would be assigned to be the unit chief? Response. I refer to the height as well as the physical build of the person. Thank you. Question. Now I would like to talk about the company. Do you know whether or not there was any code number assigned to the companies or so that you were associated then? Response. I do not recall. I do not recall the code numbers or the companies or platoon numbers or unit numbers. It has been so many years, I have forgotten it all. Thank you. Question. You told the court this morning about the unit chief. You said that the unit chief did not work. They only supervise the workers. Particularly, they would alert all the workers to go on with the work. Beside this duty, what else do you know about the role of the unit chief? What else did he do? Response. Well, his role was to inspect and observe all the workers' performance for the day. Questions? How about the group chief? You said that when you were sick, you would approach the group chief in order to obtain some medicine. Do you happen to know where the group chief got the medicine from? Response. I informed the group chief that I had stomach ache or I got diarrhea, and then that group chief would ask reported it to the unit chief. I asked 2 or 3 times, and then they would give the medicine. Generally, the unit chief would give it to the group chief, and then the group chief would give it to me. But as for from where the medicine was obtained, I did not know. Thank you. Question. I have one point I would like your clarification. You said that you never met Tawal in person, but at other times you said that even toward the latter day when you were at the work site, even digging a pond, it bear the name of Tawal, and you said that Tawal was the supervisor of the work site for the entire period until the liberation of. I would like to ask you to inform the court as to how you got to know the name of Tawal. Response. I heard by the word of mouth from one person to another. I heard from others that one day people told me that tomorrow Tawal would come to preside over the construction site before we started to dig the pond. So I never saw Tawal. I only saw the platoon chief or the unit chief or the group chief came to the work site. I never saw Tawal. I had no idea what he looked like. I only met the platoon chief, the company chief, or the unit chief. They were close. They worked very closely with us on a day-to-day basis. Thank you. Question. You mentioned about digging Tawal pond. Do you recall the date, the precise date when the pond was dug? Response. As to the date, I do not recall it at all, but if I can recollect, I can only recall the location of the pond. Question. So can you tell the court the location of the pond? Response. If I am not mistaken, the location of this pond is toward the west of the Red Hall or Sala Krohom. Question. Can you be a bit more precise on the whereabout of the Sala Krohom? Response. Salakrahom was located in Serai Sopon district. Currently, it is in Mantimenjay province. Question: was it located close to the district office? Response: no, it was not really close to the district office. Question: could you tell the court the distance from between the Salakrahom and Banti Mienjay provincial town? Response: I have no idea how many kilometers away from each other, but it was rather far. Questions: did it go between district or communes? Response: no, at that location it was not somewhere near the district office. It's quite far, and that pond was on the south of the road. But as for the distance, I have no idea. I cannot guess how far it is. Question: can you tell the court the distance from the pond to the Trapang Thmo worksite? How far was it from the pond and the Trapang Thmo dam? Response: it's really far. I don't know how many kilometers. Trapang Thmo was in Pranitprek district, and Tawal Pond was in Serai Sopon district, and it was toward the west of the district office, and in between these two places I have no idea how many kilometers away from each other. Question: could you tell if it is farther than 50 kilometers or closer than 50 kilometers? Response: I really have no idea. I just know that it is very far, but as to how many kilometers precisely, I do not know. I have no ideas. I only know that it is far from each other. Thank you. Question: I would like to now discuss the time when you were working at the Trapang Thmo worksite, when Judge Fens asked you about the duration when you were working at the Trapang Thmo worksite. You did not give a precise answer as to how long you worked there, but you said that you worked for one season, and you also said that it was the dry season when you were working there, and during rainy seasons you were asked to work in the rice field carrying seedling. So there was a question about the precise months and time period when you were working there, and you said you cannot recollect. But I would like to ask you further on any circumstance when you can recall from the starting to the ending period of one dry season during which you were working at the Trapang Thmo. Do you recall any circumstance that may ring a bell of what you did at the time? Response: I only recall that at that time it was dry season. Dry season means there was no rain. So I can only recall that. As for the date, I do not recall. Question: I understand that you do not recall the exact date, but just in case you remember any incidents or any circumstance which you can recall the event. But if you do not recall it, just tell me so. I do not want to dwell on this topic anyway. Response: no, I do not recall. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Witness. And Mr. President, I have no further question. The President. Thank you. Now the hearing of the witness Paul is coming to an end. Mr. Supal, thank you very much for spending time to testify before the court in your capacity as the witness before the chamber over the last 2 days. Of course, your testimony will contribute significantly to ascertaining the truth before this chamber. So you are now released. You can go back home or to any destination you wish to go. I wish you all the best of luck. Court officer is now instructed to assist the witness to return back home or to any destination where he wishes to go. Now the chambers would like to adjourn for the afternoon break until 3 p.m. The chamber will resume at 3 p.m. and we will hear the submission by parties on certain issue as well as the request by the defense team for Kieu Sampon. The court is now adjourned.